From Wish TV and the All Indiana Podcast Network, this is the Business, Equity, and Opportunities Podcast with Scott Sander.
Welcome to the Business, Equity, and Opportunities Podcast. I'm Scott Sander. On this episode,
as part of our coverage Celebrating Hispanic Heritage, we caught up with Nicole Martinez-Legrand, a local historian who, with her co-author, Daniel Gonzales, documented more than a century of Hoosier Latino history.
Looking for ways to save on your energy bills? AES Indiana has you covered. From smart thermostats to home energy assessments, we offer simple solutions to keep your home comfortable and your costs down. AES can help you save money and energy with kits, tips, rebates, and more. Visit aesindiana.com/ways to save to learn more about how we can help you save money. AES Indiana, helping you discover real ways to save.
Every business is unique and has a target audience. If you own or manage a business, Circulus Digital Media can help you connect and grow your customer base with turnkey digital solutions that are nimble, offering best-in-class results, service, and support to reach a bigger customer base, allowing you to pinpoint a specific audience down to the smallest details. Get outside the city, the state, span the globe. Put Circulus Digital Media to work for you. Get started now at circulusdigital.com. That's circulusdigital.com.
My name is Nicole Martinez-Legrand. I am the Multicultural Collections Curator here at the Indiana Historical Society.
So, Nicole, talk to me a bit about the content of the book as terms of the rich history of the Hispanic community in Indianapolis.
So the book documents over a century's worth of history of Latino and Hispanic history in the state of Indiana.
And what does that look like? I mean, as far as when the community came and what their contributions have been.
So in different parts of the state, it's going to look a little bit different in terms of Latin American identity, pinpoint date of arrival. But really in the northwest part of the state, that is where the most interesting and the longest history occurs. So in 1918, during World War I, the United States called on Mexico in the name of war relief, labor relief, for just increasing the allotment of foreign workers. And so a lot of those folks immigrated to the northwest part of the state, Lake County, specifically in Indiana Harbor, also known as East Chicago, Indiana, and Gary, Indiana.
And they have played from the beginning all through a very important part of can become a very important part of the community, not only as our neighbors, but they also have brought thoughts and images and art and industry and and added to the community. How would you quantify that? How would you talk about that contribution?
Well, the contribution is wide and varied. So from basically anything that affects the quality of life for all Hoosiers here in Indiana. So from agriculture, heavy industry, to policy, and organizations that benefit Central Indiana or throughout the state.
How is this book personal to you?
Well, the book is very personal to me. So I'm a native-born Hoosier, and my family settled in the northwest part of the state. So I'm a direct descendant of the early Mexican colony of Indiana.
And what does it mean to you to be able to work on this book and other books?
To be able to look at different populations here in Indiana and Indianapolis, it gives me...
You can start that again.
Yeah. So being able to look at all different populations, ethnic-wise, in the state of Indiana, it just gives me such great pride to call myself a Hoosier and to know of just our rich history.
That probably worked for but I'm going to ask one other quick question, because I know the Hispanic community in particular are very proud to be Hoosiers. Can you address that kind of pride?
Yes, Latinos are very proud to call themselves Hoosiers or Latino Hoosiers, or to express that duality of being both, American and whatever Latin American identity that they identify with. That pride can be seen in public displays such as the Fiestas Patrias Parade, which just celebrated its 100th anniversary, where you always see the Mexican flag and the U.S. flag present. You can see it in other events here in the city like Fiesta, Latino Expo, and other celebrations that are and have increased here in the city of Indianapolis.
I think it's important, and I may be bouncing around on some of this too. I think it's important to note too that this is one culture that is proud of their heritage and proud to share it, which has helped in the fabric of Indiana by sharing the multicultural aspect of it. How do you think it has been received, and how do you think, how important is that cultures can celebrate their heritage and still be a Hoosier? I may have said that.
I know. I'm like, that's a loaded question.
Yeah.
Can you reframe that?
What I'm trying to lead you into, and I'm not doing a very good job of it. No, you're fine. I need more coffee. Is that the Hispanic community is very proud of their heritage, and they're very proud to be able to share it, both with other Hoosiers, and so that they can, but also to enrich our own community by when we have multicultures sharing their heritage with us, it makes us better.
Yes.
So that's why I'd like to get to how, and I think the Hispanic community has been very a leader in that.
Yeah.
When we're talking about different cultures in Indiana, to being so gracious to share their culture with us, so that we can all benefit from it.
So Latino and Latin Americans here in Central Indiana are very entrepreneurial, and so, just as they open their doors to share their culture or their business in a wide variety of ways, that does not limit just to the community. It's for all Hoosiers to come in to experience that culture through food or through events or music. And so it just adds to the rich tapestry of Indiana.
Yeah, what you said. That's what I was trying to go. Yeah, very good. All right, so we're going to rewind a little bit, and I want you to introduce yourself as the author and what you do here, and talk a little bit about the books you've written and how you've been able to combine the documentation and the historical side of what you do as an author.
Okay. So I'm Nicole Martinez-Legrand, the Multicultural Collections Curator here at the Indiana Historical Society. So back in 2016, I was hired initially on a grant to expand the narrative of what you might call archival silence or a historical gap in our collections here at the Indiana Historical Society. The Indiana Historical Society was founded in 1830, so a pretty big gap, but we did have some stuff in our collection, but the story wasn't fully told. And so I did field work across the state of Indiana, from, as north as, South Bend and as south as Evansville, Indiana, meeting with Latinos from different ethnic backgrounds and doing audio recorded oral history interviews, hand selecting photos from family albums or personal collections, and bringing that here to the Indiana Historical Society to, let people know that just they can see themselves in history, through our online collections and also through the book. So this is the first book that I am aware of to address Latino history in the state at a statewide level. Otherwise, you'll have a lot of great resources located or centralized in certain areas of the state, but not really looking at it from a statewide perspective.
Can you let our viewers recognize the importance of the economic development that this culture has had and the effect it has had on our state?
So Latinos are great contributors, significant contributors to our local economy, not just somewhat recently, but, as early as the early 20th century, really at the start of World War I, when many laborers came to Northwest Indiana to work in the name of war relief, so working in the local steel mills, and also later through different other periods of war with the Bracero program, where folks were growing and growing cucumbers for pickles, right, through Heinz. And then also through being leaders in industries such as banking and public health, as well as Indiana's oldest Latino-owned organization, family-run organization called El Popular, Inc., which is still operating in Northwest Indiana.
We always like to encourage businesses to have as many multicultural seats at their table to help those voices. And there are a lot of Latinos in business here in Indiana. Are we doing a good job with that? Are we making some inroads? Can we do better? What is the importance of having that voice at the business table?
So by having people from multiple different ethnic Latin American backgrounds, you're going to get a lot of people from different belief systems, different values. Latinos are not a homogeneous group. And so to really kind of capture that diversity, as you said, at the business table, possibly on boards, or just having a voice at the table, does not represent the group as a whole. But I know that organizations here in Indianapolis, Central Indiana, throughout the state are rapidly increasing that voice at their table. They want to be reflective of the community that they likely serve. And so sometimes that happens a lot faster than one person can or one organization can think.
How important it is to community organizations and to businesses to be more steadfast in increasing their bilingual abilities.
So it's important for organizations to increase their bilingual capabilities or how they want to get their message out. Also, not all Latinos speak Spanish. There's a lot of indigenous languages as well that are represented here in Central Indiana. And Spanish is, while it's a universal language in Latin America, it's a little bit nuanced because some words don't mean the same in one country versus another. So I understand that there are a lot of challenges to that. As long as folks are making the effort to get that done, it will be appreciated and well received.
Well, talking about making the effort, as you were writing this book, were there surprises or heartwarming things that just really made you know, hey, I'm on the right track to put this together, but also warmed your heart a little bit on the way?
So collecting all of these histories and trying to develop a theme was a little, not difficult, but, it was just really widespread. And so when we did the exhibit in 2018 and then began to write the book in 2020 and 2021, there were many different stories that we wanted to include. So we included about, I think less than half of the total stories that we collected. I think the most heartwarming part or surprising part is that a lot of people, especially in the early community in Northwest Indiana, seeing other people in other people's photographs, recognizing to show how tight-knit this community was. By 1930, there were about 5,300 Mexican nationals in just one area alone in Indiana Harbor, not including Gary, but just being able to see, my family members as well. And so I do talk about that a lot, but being able to see people at different stages of their lives participating in community events or just being a part of community.
What's up next for you as a researcher and author?
Well, I continue to do a lot of in-depth research based off of the book. I do write a lot of blogs for our institutional blog, diving into that and then diving into new narratives. I'm really excited to do more research on Indianapolis's Los Barrio or El Barrio, a neighborhood that once existed just on the east side of Indianapolis or east side of downtown Indianapolis. And so continue to working on uncovering those lesser-known narratives.
I love it. I need to keep up with that. We're good?
I actually have a question.
All right.
You can address the answer to her. You touched on it a little bit where you're like seeing people's family members in these little photographs. What sort of feedback have you gotten from not just Latino community, Latinx community?
Yeah, it was whatever term.
Okay.
Yeah, it's a personal preference.
Okay,
yeah.
Great.
Yeah.
And also the Hoosier community as a whole.
Like seeing other people's...
Yeah, like what sort of feedback have you gotten from your research, from the book?
The feedback that I receive from people who become newly acquainted to my work, had no idea about, even though they're Latin American or have Latin American heritage and have been living here in Indiana for all their lives or for such a short time, is that they did not realize how long we've been here and how you haven't really seen that in any other kind of public spaces like museums. And so they're just kind of just taken back. And then also it deepens their sense of pride to call themselves a Hoosier and just to know that there were so many people before them just like them throughout history who've not been recorded in history books and are now taking center stage and just showing how deep and varied that pride is here in Indiana.
Our thanks again to all the contributors who joined us for this episode of the Business Equity and Opportunities podcast. We hope you found it enlightening, useful, and inspiring. You'll find more information about the show on our website, BEOshow.com. You can watch Business Equity and Opportunities Sunday mornings at 10 on Wish TV or live stream it through wishtv.com. Each week we provide 7 full segments with topics ranging from how to get started and how to access capital to the day-to-day running of your business and questions about accounting and bookkeeping. We feature business news and trends and always share a success story from one of our contributors. Join us next time for more insights into the world of small business. Be sure to sign up for our Business Equity and Opportunities newsletter to get even more valuable, up-to-date information. And if you have any questions or you'd like to be part of our show, please email us. The address is beo@wishtv.com. We'd love to hear from you. I'm Scott Sander. Thanks for listening.
Watch the Business Equity and Opportunity Show on Wish TV and access all of our content and share it on demand anytime at BEOshow.com. You can find more podcasts from Wish TV on the All Indiana Podcast Network at allindianapodcastnetwork.com.